So Notre Dame is back playing on the day of the college football playoff this year, just a little bit earlier in the day in a different bowl game, lesser opponent with 5 losses. MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football, talking Notre Dame. We got a Mason Plummer on the line. You can catch Mason on Slap the Sign. Mason, how you doing today?
Doing great, Mark. Glad to be here.
Appreciate you jumping on board to get us set with the Irish, trying to get to 11 wins after a 10-2 regular season. So what would be the differences for you between this Notre Dame edition and what we saw last year? Was it the schedule? Was it anything necessarily with the performance that they lost 2 games? Is this just as good a team? What would be your evaluation?
I think it's a mixture of the schedule and the team performance. Games away at Georgia and Michigan are always going to be tough, but they didn't really show up for those games. So, you got to compete in the big games, and Notre Dame's winning the games they should. But in a game like Georgia or Michigan, which could be a toss-up, you need to show out and not get blown out in those kind of games. So, there's a lot of room for improvement as we look forward to the upcoming years in Notre Dame football.
Talking Notre Dame, we got Mason Plummer on the line from Slap the Sign, of course. This is the deal here at MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football. We talk the game we love each and every day, all year, 24/7, 365. So lock it in right here. Like, comment, share the videos, and subscribe. So you've had a parting of the ways. Offensive coordinator Chip Long moving on. Any impact on the offense, you think, in the here and now against Iowa State?
Well, Chip Long, it was an odd situation. It wasn't really reported because they wanted to keep it in-house, but it sounded like he didn't have the best kind of relationship with the players. And there's been a lot of reports, such as Miles Boykin. He left for the NFL draft and is now doing great with the Baltimore Ravens. But he said he would have came back for his senior year, which would have been this year, if Chip Long would have left last year. So he's an old school coach that not a lot of the players really seem to respond to. So we're now a new school guy, kind of like Tommy Rees and Lance Taylor, younger guys. It'll be an interesting dynamic to see, and we'll see how the play calling goes. There hasn't been a different play caller at Notre Dame for the past 3 or 4 seasons now, so it'll be interesting to see what they pull against Iowa State.
Yeah, kind of the identity of this team has become a tremendous offensive line, a lot of pros moving on to the NFL from the offensive front, running the football, establishing that. Big physical wide receivers on the perimeter. Ian Book, of course, running the show, had an outstanding season for the most part. 33 touchdowns, 6 picks. So if you characterize the offense for us, of course, Notre Dame's a name brand. People watch them all the time, but at the same time, a lot of people just watch their team, their conference, and we'll see Notre Dame for the first time against Iowa State. So just your thoughts about the Notre Dame offense.
Yeah, it's traditionally a team that likes to run the ball with, as you said, the offensive line. And there is a great offensive line, but there's just been little problems, false starts here and there that have caused Notre Dame to not be able to run the ball all that well. Jafar Armstrong going down in week 1 didn't help anything. Backup Tony Jones has been okay. Third stringer Kyron Williams as a freshman didn't really get it all together. Didn't seem like he was ready. And then fourth stringer Sibo Williams, or Sibo Flemister, I'm sorry. Sibo Flemister has looked good in the spurts he's had, but he hasn't got as many carries as he probably deserves. So the running game hasn't been great, but Ian Book has responded well to Notre Dame needing to throw the ball more. And so the offense is, it's still the traditional spread offense you see from Notre Dame, but it'll be a little bit tweaked against Iowa State with a different play caller. We'll have to see.
Talking Notre Dame football, we got Mason Plummer on the line. You can join him at Slap the Sign. And the Irish take on Iowa State, a 7-5 club, in the Camping World Bowl on the day of the college football playoff on Saturday. Notre Dame had that down season a few years ago at 4-8. The defense was trash. It was just difficult to watch, getting gashed. They really dedicated themselves, based on what I've heard, to the conditioning program, getting better athletes in there, and the speed game as well. Just a much improved defense in recent years. That would be 2017, 18, and 19. Who are the standouts that we should look out for on Saturday?
Definitely the rover linebacker, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. He kind of came out of nowhere. A lot of guys expected him to play some, but not quite as much as he has. And he's been a breakout player. You had to figure that one of the linebackers would break out with the loss of Tavon Coney and Drew Tranquill to the NFL draft. And whether that was going to be Jack Lamb or Shane Simon, but it ended up being Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. He's a very twitchy, a quick athlete who makes plays, and he just seems like he's a step ahead. He's playing chess while the other guys are playing checkers. It seems like he's moving so quickly, and he's really an impact guy on that defense.
9.5 tackles for loss, a couple sacks, and 71 total tackles for him. Mason, when you look at this game, and I don't know if you've had much of a chance to break down Iowa State, look at them with Brock Purdy at quarterback, limited a bit on the outside in regards to dynamics, stretch the field kind of wide receivers, excellent defense, one of the best in the Big 12, probably the best in the Big 12. What would be those matchups that you feel really good about Notre Dame taking advantage of, and where do you have some concerns?
Well, Iowa State likes to throw the ball. There's no doubt about that. And I think one of Notre Dame's strengths is defending the pass with Kyle Hamilton, Alohi Gilman, and Jalen Elliott as your safety core. So it's going to be strength versus strength. But yeah, as I said, Brock Purdy's a great quarterback. And I think he has a chance to exploit some weaknesses on the Notre Dame defense. And considering who Iowa State has in their coaching depth, coaching Purdy, it could be an interesting matchup.
In regards to Notre Dame's approach to this game, we go on all sides of the spectrum when it comes to importance of bowl games and people's perceptions and the way the program or that particular team approaches it. You go from one end of the spectrum. It's an exhibition game. We're trying to get in practices. It doesn't really matter. The season's over to a certain extent. If it's not a playoff game, then that's what it is. Then on the other end of the spectrum, people realize, hey, people watch these games. They remember bowl games 20 years later. And most likely, I know there's another game opposite you, but for the most part, these bowl games are isolated events, and college football nation's watching them, and they're bowl games, they're postseason games. So, how important is this to Notre Dame? They lose, they're 10-3, they finish in the top 15, they go 11-2. Maybe they crack the top 10 and probably do.
I think that's all semantics at the end, and I think that a lot of the players and the coaching staff would agree. They're not where they want to be. They wanted to be in the college football playoff again, and whether they're ranked 13 or whether they're ranked 10, I don't think that's going to make a ton of difference. Their goal is to make a college football playoff every year, and that's the fans' goal as well. And it seemed like a real letdown this year. But compared to the early 2000s Notre Dame teams, where if you were to tell any fan at that point that they would be going on a 10-win season 3 years in a row, they would be ecstatic. So winning 10 games 3 years in a row is huge. It seems like a letdown just because of making the playoff last year. And Iowa State is the most intriguing matchup necessarily, but winning this game is still important. Getting 11 wins is always big. And as well as for, recruits seeing that you're still going out there trying hard and, getting as many wins as you possibly can.
So Mason, is the fan base and yourself included happy with Brian Kelly?
I don't have a problem with Brian Kelly. I think he's done great things for the program. I know a lot of people feel differently. I think he's heading towards the end of his tenure, but I like where he's at right now. I think it is time to, if Jack Swarbrick, the athletic director, feels like Clark Lee, the defensive coordinator, might be the next guy up, maybe start to groom him for that position. That's not always the smoothest transition, but yeah, I don't have a problem with Brian Kelly. I think he's done a great job since he got hired in 2010. He took the program to heights it hasn't seen since Lou Holtz. Notre Dame was in a rough patch for a long time. Brian Kelly has struggled to win the big game, getting blown out in the national championship, getting blown out in the college football semifinal. But, it's taken Notre Dame to places that hadn't been prior to him. So there's a lot to be said for that.